Andrew Tate built his brand on one rule: never make excuses.
And I will crack the Matrix.
Then he lost a boxing match.
I don't think anyone was expecting that, so Andrew Tate lost.
Andrew Tate has just lost to Chase Demoor in their 6-round boxing match.
And still, the Misfits Boxing.
Within days, the explanations started layering in. His conditioning had been perfect, but something went wrong he couldn't explain. The factors he mentioned, being 40, the weight class, even divine intervention, hadn't been part of the conversation before the fight.
I'm 40 years old, I'm 10 years out the ring. I'd spend a little bit of time in jail and locked in my house. I have a lot going on, but it's okay to lose, but it's not okay to not try.
The betting markets had given him 90% odds to win against Chase Demoor after a decade away from professional fighting. He lost by majority decision. What followed wasn't just a loss, it was a test of whether the persona he'd built could survive reality. The fight was announced months in advance. Tate hadn't competed since 2014 and was 40 years old. Demoor was younger, still active in combat sports, and relatively unknown outside of competitive circles. But Tate had the profile as a 4-time kickboxing world champion with a massive online following. During the build-up, his content stayed consistent with training footage appearing regularly, and his brother Tristan showing up in some clips. The focus was on capability and readiness, rather than on rust or age or time away. Most betting money went on Tate. Most of the attention centered on his return to fighting, rather than the matchup itself. The narrative was built around someone stepping back into an arena they'd once dominated. The first round went as expected, with Tate coming forward, while Demoor stayed composed and used clinching to control distance. By round 3, the shift was obvious. Tate had slowed down noticeably, while Demoor kept pressing forward. The remaining rounds went the same way. When the judges' scorecards came in, 2 had it for Demoor, while 1 scored it a draw, giving Demoor the majority decision. The reaction spread quickly, with people who had bet on Tate being stunned while others celebrated. Clips from the fight circulated immediately. Tate appeared at the post-fight press conference and congratulated Demoor while acknowledging that he fought smart. There were no complaints in that immediate moment as he accepted the result publicly. That version didn't last. Within days, different clips surfaced of Tate speaking with Tristan about the fight. He kept saying his conditioning had been perfect during training, but that something went wrong during the actual fight that he couldn't explain. Then, the explanations started layering in about being 40 years old, not having fought professionally in 10 years, and competing at a weight class higher than where he'd won his championships. These factors hadn't been part of the conversation before the fight, but appeared afterward. People started posting side-by-side comparisons of Tate's pre-fight confidence and his post-fight explanations. The clips spread across platforms within hours. Tate went further in subsequent conversations by starting to frame the loss in spiritual terms, suggesting that God might have wanted him to lose, or that there was a purpose he couldn't see yet. In clips of him discussing the fight with Tristan, he appeared to struggle with reconciling the outcome. The contrast with his earlier content became a focal point. For years, Tate had built messaging around accountability and not making excuses, and those clips were still circulating with millions of views, while new clips appeared alongside them. His audience split. Some defended the explanations as legitimate, since fighting at 40 after a decade away is genuinely difficult. The factors Tate mentioned were real. Others pointed out that none of those factors were secrets, since the age difference and time away were already public information before the fight happened. The training videos had shown confidence rather than concern about potential limitations, and the explanations only materialized after the loss. The fight happened while Tate was dealing with ongoing legal issues in Romania. He'd been arrested in late 2022 on charges including human trafficking before being released and placed under house arrest. The restrictions were later modified. The case remained unresolved. The timing mattered. The fight was supposed to be a return to something he controlled, an arena where his background and reputation should have produced a clear outcome. Instead, it became another moment where things didn't go as projected. Tate had built his public presence reliance on certainty. Before the fight, everything seemed to align with training looking solid and preparation appearing thorough, while age and time away weren't presented as obstacles to overcome. After the loss, those same circumstances became explanations, with the decade away from competition, the age gap with Demoor, and the weight class difference becoming relevant afterward in a way they hadn't been before. Even though none of it was new information, Tate kept posting after the fight, and the content didn't change as the messaging about discipline and mental toughness continued. But the fight kept coming up. Every time he posted about accountability, people mentioned Demoor in the comments. The contrast between what he says and how he responded became a reference point. The clips of him discussing the fight with Tristan circulated repeatedly. People used them as counterpoints whenever Tate posted about mental strength. Demoor returned to his regular competition schedule, and the win didn't transform his career trajectory. He beat a famous name and kept competing. For Tate, it became something people wouldn't stop bringing up. He'd positioned himself as someone who operates from certainty, with disagreement being treated not as perspective, but as misunderstanding. The response after the fight had to maintain that certainty while accounting for a result that contradicted it. The conditioning was perfect, but something inexplicable happened. The preparation was solid, but factors beyond control intervened. His audience expected consistency and had been absorbing the same confidence and tone for years. Offering anything less would have suggested instability. Maintaining that image under circumstances that challenged it required explanations that kept expanding, and each new layer made the gap more visible. Andrew Tate hasn't announced another fight since then, with no rematch scheduled and no public plans to return to competition being discussed. The legal case in Romania continues without resolution, while he posts regularly on available platforms. The programs he promotes remain active, and his following is still substantial, but the Demoor fight stays attached to his story and gets referenced constantly, with him addressing it at times while ignoring it at others. The betting odds turned out to be wrong about the outcome. The training footage that looked sharp didn't predict what would happen once the fight started, and the confidence he projected beforehand didn't hold up when fatigue set in during the middle rounds. The identity he built projected one version, while the actual outcome demonstrated another, and that gap between projection and reality remains visible.